Blessed be all you wonderful people out there. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We're talking about the chakras today and shadow work, coming from a witchy point of view and also coming from a point of view of we want to help ourselves so that we can also help other people through the changes that we make within ourselves. Before I get on with the video though, I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com, author of Crafting Your Wiccan Path, and if you want to learn more about Wicca and witchcraft, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss any videos. And if you are interested in working shadow work and doing chakra work as part of your shadow work, balancing and aligning your chakras, I am about to launch a new course which is called Wheels of Empowerment, and if you're interested in having a look at that course and you're not on my email list, then you can sign up for my newsletter and tick the boxes to get more information from me, and then you'll know when the course is launched. The link to do that is in the description field below this video. Some people may be thinking, well, Wicca's a Western tradition. Why would you need to be working with the chakras? Even in the West, we've worked with our energy system. We've worked with chakras. And while in some traditions, in Western esoteric traditions, there might be 5 chakras that they work with, other systems there's 6. Other systems work with the Eastern aspects of the chakras. But basically, when you look at a lot of traditions around the world, you'll find that they do chakra work, they do meridian work. They just call it different things and maybe work with it slightly different. When I was doing my training in my first coven, we did work with the chakras, and we worked with the chakras as our centering practice. And it was one of the first things that we did start to learn when we started getting more into the practices of witchcraft after we'd learned the basics in first degree. So the work that we did was centering and connecting and opening up the chakras back then and working with that energy. The way I like to work with the chakras is to work with shadow work with them, because one of the reasons why our chakras get out of balance and get blocked is just a metaphor for being out of balance, or be too overactive or too underactive, is because of our beliefs about ourselves and the world. Our physical system, our energy system, is influenced by our beliefs and our perceptions. And when we change our beliefs and our perceptions change, our energy changes as well. So whereas traditionally in chakra work, they would work with the energy system and allow the energy system to then try and influence the experience and the perception, the way that I like to work with it is much more coming from a Western point of view. Because in Western culture, we have a lot of very, very distorted beliefs about ourselves and the world. And the further we go along, the more our Western world is becoming more materialistically based and less spiritually oriented. So we're coming up with a lot of mental health problems as a result of that, because people are feeling very disconnected from spirit. When we're only looking at ourselves as a bunch of cells and that our consciousness is just neurons firing around in the brain and it's nothing more than that, then we lose a sense of connection to something that is bigger than ourselves. We lose a sense of connection to anything apart from ourselves, and it causes people a lot of anxiety, a lot of free-floating anxiety and free-floating frustration. So the way that for us Westerners, because of the way that we have been brought up and the way that we have been experiencing the world, we have a lot of psychological baggage there. And that has created a distortion in how we perceive ourselves and how we perceive ourselves and our relationship to the world. So from a Western perspective, I feel I've definitely had more success with myself, as well as with people that I have worked with one-on-one, where we go in and work more with the beliefs about ourselves and the world, clearing those, and then the energy system actually starts to clear itself. It responds to the work that we do within ourselves, and that's where the shadow work comes in. Shadow work is very popular in Wicca and witchcraft circles. In some covens, that is part of their second degree work. The chakra work that I'm launching into is part of a second degree platform that I'm starting to create in Mystery Witch School Academy. But you don't need to be at that second degree level necessarily to do the chakra course that I am creating, so don't worry if you're not there yet. Joining our inner experience with the chakras helps us understand ourselves more, and it just helps us also understand the chakras. And so when you are doing energy work on your chakras, so if you are going more for the traditional route of working with visualizations, working with mantra, working with sound, to work on your energy system to balance your chakras, it'll help you understand your chakras a lot better. And when you find that maybe you've got physical ailments going on, or if you find that you're feeling tension in particular parts of your body, or you know that you've got blocks psychologically to things that you may want to do or beliefs about yourself, you'll be able to connect those with the chakra that may be being affected. And so when it comes to continuing your balance, because balancing the chakras is an ongoing process. You don't just balance them and then bang, they're balanced forever. It's something you've got to continually work on, because life happens and life throws stuff at us that will throw us out of balance. So we've always got to be paying attention to what is going on energetically. So when we come to the chakras and we understand the energetic way of healing, and then we also understand the more psychological way of healing, we can blend the two together, and it just makes it easier for us, especially us Westerners, to get our head around. So that's why I like to connect the shadow work with the chakras. So as an example, in our root chakra, which for most of us is pretty out of balance, it can be underactive or it can be overactive. And when it's out of balance, when we don't feel safe and secure in the world, we don't have trust in ourselves, we often don't feel good enough, we don't feel worthy, and that's our foundation. The root chakra is how we perceive the physical world. It's our relationship to the physical world. It's everything about the physical world, including our foundation. And if you've got things going on in your life where you've got a lot of insecurity, particularly with money and material, having the material things available to you that you want and need, then it's the root chakra to look at first. And it's always the root chakra to start with first. But this whole ability to be able to survive in the world is very root chakra oriented. So when we go into the root chakra, we start to look at our beliefs about our self-worth, our value, our issues around self-trust, our issues around survival and security, going all the way back into our childhood, where we learned that the world wasn't safe, where we learned that we weren't good enough, and where we learned that we weren't worthy, and then going and releasing those beliefs, changing those beliefs, healing the inner child, and then being able to adjust the energy system at the same time. So that's an example of the root chakra in its relationship to shadow work. The next chakra up from that is the sacral chakra, where we're dealing with our desires, we're dealing with pleasure, we're dealing with sexuality. This is very hedonistic chakra. It's all about me, 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 me. And often that will conflict with the root chakra, because the root chakra is about safety and security, keeping us safe, whereas often our desires and our pleasure seeking often puts us into very dangerous situations. So often those two chakras can be in conflict. So again, you're looking at balancing a lot of the shadow beliefs around desire, around pleasure, around sexuality, when you're dealing with the sacral chakra, in order to balance that. So they're just two examples of working with the chakras and shadow work. And we always work from the root chakra upwards. The lower chakras, the first three chakras, so the root chakra, your sacral chakra, and your solar plexus, are all about more the ego side of things and keeping you safe in the world, keeping you having the ability to be able to stand in your power and assert yourself in the world, express yourself in the world, have the desires, seek the pleasure, and all of that sort of stuff. And a lot of spiritual people don't want to work on those lower chakras because they're considered to be, ego, and they want to transcend that. So they'll work with the upper chakras. A lot of people who are into the spiritual work and tend to want to focus on the upper chakras are just trying to avoid all of the shadow work that they need to do down in the lower chakras in order to be able to actually have more clarity up here in the upper chakras. So trying to escape from the lower chakras is not a good thing, because the work really needs to be done in those ones first. And then as you progress your way up into the heart chakra, you can have more courage to open your heart, to forgive yourself, to love yourself so that you can then love others. Then you have everything you need to be able to then express yourself through the throat chakra and create in the world. And that gives you much better clarity of vision when you reach the third eye chakra. How you perceive the world, how you see your future, how you have the vision of yourself and the world is going to be so much clearer when you have balanced the lower chakras first. If your lower chakras are in disarray and you're trying to jump up into the third eye because you want to escape the world, because the world just seems like such a horrible place, you just want to get away from it, your vision's clouded. You're not going to be able to see the true clarity and beauty of the world, because these other chakras are in disarray. The world is actually, when I'm talking about the world, I'm talking about nature, I'm talking about the planet. It's very beautiful. It's we humans that create this horror show that we're creating right now. And we can turn that horror show into a very, very beautiful adventure or romance or whatever it is you want to create. It's up to us to do that. But we need to balance those lower chakras and get the ego in order before we can then have the vision to be able to do that and to see things more clearly. And then our connection to source, spirit, the gods in the crown chakra is all about our beliefs about divinity. What are your beliefs about divinity? When we grow up as children, a lot of us who have grown up in traditional religions where divinity is often seen as being this authority that wants us to do certain things and doesn't want us to do other things. And so often we've got beliefs about divinity that are actually blocking us from being able to do what we actually came here in the world to do. We may believe that God doesn't want us to do that. And even if we're pagans, if we grew up in another tradition, we may still be subconsciously carrying those beliefs from that other tradition and struggling with those unconsciously that we're not aware of. So working with the crown chakra can help open us up to what our beliefs are about divinity and how those beliefs may actually be incorrect and how those beliefs may be actually holding you back from really being who you are and expressing yourself in the world too. So that's why the shadow work is really helpful with balancing the chakras. And another thing about chakra balancing with the Kundalini rising, a lot of people who work more energetically with the chakras will find that energy work will bring up shadow beliefs, it will bring up emotions, it'll bring up past traumas, it'll bring these things up. So a lot of people find that when they are doing energy healing work, that they go into a healing crisis where they become incredibly emotionally frayed. Some people feel like they're on the verge of a breakdown, and sometimes it can cause a lot of physical healing crisis as well, because the energy system's righting itself, but because you don't have connection to your subconscious thoughts and beliefs and an understanding of the shadow work, when it hits the shadow stuff, you don't know how to deal with it. You don't know how to work through the emotional stuff that's going to come up. But if you go through shadow work and go through working with the shadows, with the chakras through the shadows, which is what I'm trying to say, it actually helps you, that healing curve, that healing crisis is something that you don't have to fall into while you're doing it. I work with tapping, I work with EFT, which is an energy psychology. So it's balancing your energy system at the same time as calming your emotions down. So this helps you avoid the healing crisis that often energy work can throw you into. So that's why I use tapping with my shadow work, so that you're constantly working with the energy system and the beliefs at the same time, so you don't end up in this state of trauma, because you don't want to be going into past traumas. You don't want to be going back there. You want to be able to work in a way that is safe for you. So that's how I work with the chakras, and that's why I work with shadow work. And as I said at the beginning, if you are interested in doing chakra work and healing work with me, put your name on my newsletter if you're not already on my mailing list. Make sure that you tick the boxes to continue to receive information from me, and I'll let you know when that course comes about. I'm planning to launch it next month, so it's not too far away. If you like the video, hit the like button, share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com. Blessed be.